Okay, taking a look here at Landon Gartman. Again, when I analyze a hitter, in terms of looking at the body parts, focus on three areas: the back leg, the back arm, and the front side. And again, we want to look for rhythm and timing within those three areas as they move throughout the swing. We'll start with the back leg. The back leg has two functions. Uh, and they are to load, okay, and then unload by pressing laterally in the direction of the pitch and shifting body weight into and against that firm front side. So again, the back leg should load and unload sideways into that front side. Once the back leg has pressed into that front side, the front leg begins working on the front hip, working against the ground and opening the hips from the front. The turning of the back leg happens after that front leg begins to work on that front hip, and the turning of the back leg is more a byproduct of what's going on with the front leg working against the front side. Okay, taking a look here at Landon's back leg action. These two swings are, a little different. You can see on this one when the heel drops, the back leg has made a move, pressing to the front. On this one, it really hasn't. We want to feel like that back leg is making its pressing action before that heel drops. In other words, it should go before that heel drops. And on this one, he's still kind of back on that one. This one, he goes a little better. But on neither of them do we see a real good drive into the front side. An indicator that you can usually, but not always, see is that back foot. Number one, it's unweighted before we hit the ball. As you look at your professionals, the back foot is unweighted. You can see it sliding there, maybe even slightly off the ground. It's unweighted just before and through contact with the baseball, and we generally will see some slight forward movement of it. Not always, but most of the time, and that's usually a pretty good indicator. The only way to know for sure would be to have force plates underneath each foot to measure ground reaction forces. But generally speaking, we want to see a little bit of drive off of that back foot. And we don't want to force the foot to come off the ground. We don't want to force the foot to slide. But if you make a good sideways shift to the front side, generally we'll see that back foot gain, an inch or two in the direction of the pitcher. Whereas you look at Landon, you can see the back foot does not gain any ground. It more or less turns in the same spot. And there's definitely more intent to just turn the leg than there is to drive against the front side with the back leg. You can really see it here. He's really turning over. You can see how his chest is already facing the ball. You see our professionals here, when they land, the chest is still away from the pitcher. And here on these two swings, you can see he's really begun to open up prematurely. Some of that on this first one is the front foot bailing open. But a lot of it, especially at this point, is from trying to turn this leg, works its way up. If you're trying to turn here, you're going to wind up turning the shoulders too early, bringing the body open way too soon, which is of course going to carry the hands forward way too soon. So it's not only a bat speed issue, but it's also a plate management issue, in that if the shoulders fly open, then the hands are going to get forward too soon. You're going to commit too soon. So in summary, the back leg, we need to focus on just the two things: loading and pressing sideways, and not try to force spin with the back leg. Okay, now let's take a look at the back arm, as we want to really perfect how this back arm moves to throw the bat head at the ball. If you look at our professionals there, basically what we're looking for is for the elbow to work up and then to the ball, with very little change in the positioning of the top hand, meaning the top hand, the palm is still facing the pitcher, and the hand is still slightly in front or slightly behind the back shoulder here. The loading action of the back arm is a lifting and turning in of the long bone in the upper arm, and we don't want to see the batter load up by straightening the back arm out, reaching back to load up. Okay, this action is very similar to how an infielder gets the ball out of the glove, is what we want to see. Okay, if you look here at what Landon's doing, you do see a little bit of lifting action there to kind of get things started. That's not too bad. And then of course the elbow works, you know, inside just like everybody's does. Everybody's elbow is going to work to the ball. It's really the positioning of the top hand that's going to determine how you know, efficient this move is. And you can see Landon's top hand, especially on this one, really goes palm up prematurely. If you look at our professionals, you can see as that elbow slots in, that palm is still out on the pitcher. Okay, so what we've got to do here is learn to load and then slot the elbow to the ball while keeping the hand up near the shoulder, palm facing the pitcher. Okay. Again, you can see his barrel here. This was a high pitch, and so he really kind of tried to get on plane way too soon. The bat is way back here. This was a lower pitch, and his bat did a little better in staying up, but you can see how much his hands dropped on that. If you look at the professionals, at this point in the swing, regardless of the location of the pitch, their top hand is in the same place. You know, so as that back leg loads and unloads, and as the back elbow loads and slots, you know, our top hand is still right there. Okay, and close to the same place that we started it with. You know, Drew tended to hold his hands a little bit higher to start, but once he kind of loaded here and then slotted, you know, the hands were still basically in the same place. Adrian, you know, he kind of starts off there, kind of works the elbow before, but then, you know, during the load and the slotting, that hand doesn't change place or position. So this is where we want to be when after we've shifted our weight to the front side. So through this point, only two things have happened. The back leg has loaded and unloaded sideways, and the back elbow has worked up into the ball. And we're still in the same position with our top hand. Virtually everything else is in the same place. So basically, what we're going to ask of Landon is for him to be able to lift and slot that elbow while keeping the palm on the pitcher, okay, barrel stacked above the elbow, and the hand in front of or slightly behind the back shoulder. We're gonna try to actually, you know, reduce. You know, you can really see it on this one in the upper right. You can see as his elbow works in, you can see that hand going with it. You can see as he slots, that hand really goes palm up immediately. You can see our professionals, as the elbow slots, the hand maintains its position. Okay, so we're gonna work to get rid of that, be able to slot in here and keep the palm on the pitcher as we slot. And from this point, we're going to learn to fire the top hand from in front of the shoulder through the ball. So we want to really become aware where that top hand is and learn to feel it fire in a throwing action from the shoulder through the ball and get over the top just after contact. So a good top hand throwing action, palm facing the pitcher, throwing the barrel behind the ball, and allowing that top hand to snap over the top right after contact.